Second.
All right,
Howdy.
beloved family, here we are. This is going to be one of the toughest ones, one of the toughest episodes, but it's something that we needed to do. We were going to discuss an exploration of Samhain, however you guys pronounce it. Everybody has their definition of it, or their, well, yes, their definition and their pronunciation of it. But in light of the most recent events, we decided that we needed to address the more pressing issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fact that it's getting worse out there. It's
Yeah.
getting absolutely worse. Uh, there's supposed war zones where nothing's happening. There is just so much hatred. There is so much greed. There is so much negativity and so much heinousness that is happening that we cannot ignore it. We can dance around it. We can talk about our magical aspects. We can talk about our familiars. We can talk about working around the spiritual. But the fact of the matter is that we are also on this physical plane and we are dealing with the worst of the worst. And you know exactly what orange moron we're talking about. So here we are. Is this controversial? Yeah, it's going to be controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to name names? Are we going to name groups? Absolutely not. But we're here. And right now, thankfully, there are a small number of us, but still significant, that are probably not going to catch us on our episode tonight. They are safely at a little festival called Hacking Fest that's happening this weekend. So at least we can rest knowing that they are in sacred space. They are enjoying themselves. They're partaking in a beautiful festival, and they are out where nobody is allowed to come in. Nobody's allowed to partake if they haven't uh, registered all of that. And it's a very remote location. So thank the gods, thank the creators, thank the source, thank universe that they, at least for this weekend, are completely safe. And we hope for the best. We hope that they are enjoying themselves. And we hope that they actually get this chance to really distract themselves and really have the chance to feel what we should all be feeling. And that is close to nature, close to each other, close to what we should be as our highest selves, as the best version of ourselves. So our energy goes out to them. At least my energy goes out to them. While they are enjoying that, while they are enjoying some respite, the fact of the matter is that we are here. We are still vulnerable. We still need to do the best that we can to stand up against everything that is going on, against our oppressors. We need to stand up. We cannot sit around. We cannot say thoughts and prayers. We cannot say love and light. I mean, that's great for the healers, but there are others who are capable of doing something about it. And that is where the protectors come in. That is where our greatest selves can come in to assist. That's what we're talking about tonight. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to stand up? What are we going to do to protect? The biggest question is, what are you prepared to do? Because we need you. We need each other. We need to stand up. We need to stand together. We need to let go of everything that has set us apart. We need to let go of all of these myths, all of these suppositions, all of these vitriolic thoughts. And it's time for us to work together. We are our only hope. It's us. That's it. It's just us. Can we help others? Absolutely. Are others going to accept us willingly? That's questionable because of the beliefs. So, is there a chance that maybe nobody will come to our defense? Oh, yeah. We've always been at the forefront of being persecuted, always being tried, always being vanished, unalived. Let's call it for what it is.
Mhm.
We know that this is our history. We know what they've done to our brothers and our sisters who are being close to our faith, close to our religion, close to our practice, our traditions, all of it. So that time is over. We need to do something. So, Gwen, I know you've got some thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'll tell you, I think what we have is we have a situation where if you were to clock out what is happening in our government, and you compare it to what other dictators have done while they were in a power grab, it's very um, Garage Goblin, your mic is giving feedback. I don't know if you know that. Anyway, if you there we go, that's better. Um, Sometimes when we're all on a kind of interesting system where we don't know how it works, but we're trying. Anyway, we have very definitely a very serious situation because our government has slid down a very significantly slippery slope, far, far, far farther than we would have thought that it would have gone in this time frame. You can compare it to all kinds of different dictators that rose and then have managed to stay in power. If you look at how do you utilize the military, well, you create a situation and then you blame others and you scapegoat people. Who's getting scapegoated? Joe? Anybody that doesn't look like me, scapegoat as possible. um, People that are American citizens were on, I think it Monday, hauled out of an apartment complex in Chicago. Children that were half naked because they were sleeping. It's hot this time of year and muggy in Chicago, and so they were in their pajamas and they were hauled out. SWAT landed on the roof. Tell me how this is necessary. If you think the entire building is full of illegal aliens, do you rouse them from their beds in the middle of the night and drag children out to the street? They didn't just round up people that might not have been here documented. They rounded up people that were American citizens. To prove it. Okay. How many people listening to this know where their passport is? I know where my driver's license is. I have it in my wallet. But how many people, but that doesn't prove that I'm a citizen. Having a driver's license does not prove that I'm a citizen. So what if I got rounded up? They don't get heard from again. They're people are following people around trying to say, hey, they're here and take notes. What's your name? What's your name? Well, this is exactly what the Germans did in the build up to World War II before they went to war. They rounded up all the Jews, and they said, "Put a star on your arm." Well, good citizens that they were, some of them tried to stay, and that was terrible. Um, I have a gardener. I haven't seen him since January. He just disappeared. Now I know he's still here. I think I know he's still here, but he stopped coming. Um, just stopped because I don't think he's. I think he's afraid to leave his house. There is no such thing as organized Antifa. It is quite literally people that go like, "Well, I'm Antifa because I don't believe in fascism." That would make me Antifa. I'm pretty sure that makes people listening to this podcast, so broadcast mostly Antifa. I've never gone to a meeting for Antifa. I see posts that are clearly anti-fascist. I like that. So what happens? Well, they're trying to use Antifa as an excuse. They're trying to say that they're international global terrorists right up there with Hamas and people in the Middle East that, you know, I mean, there's just no comparison to and people in the Middle East, by the way, most of them are not terrorists. They're just trying to live their lives. So you can't like say, well, I mean, if you look at what was it Christine Ohm was saying in an interview she did, which was either today or yesterday. I put the clip up, but I think I'd have to go find it. It's pretty shocking, and there is not going to be safety from this until Trump is either expired or out of office. I I don't think that his vice president JD Vance has the same charisma to pull this off. And arguably, Trump is not in good health. You go like, well, he's doing a great job. He's fine with the economy. Well, he just accepted a bribe in the form of an airplane, and now he's going to allow Qatar to build a plane factory in Idaho. Would it produce jobs? Sure. It's a foreign government building planes in Idaho, which is the kickback for accepting accepting the jobs, accepting the plane. So there is nothing about this government that is not corrupt. He's hired his private attorneys that were literally unqualified for working in the DOJ. I mean, they're absolutely unqualified. The people that were working in the I keep saying DOG, I don't know why, but people that were working in the DOG literally walked off the job because they refused to bring the same prosecutions. They went after, is it Letitia James? Oh, the one in New York.
Yes.
They went after her for correcting for checking that it was her own residence, and then later on in the same document saying this is for my niece, this is for my niece. So if you check the wrong box on a form and you clarify it all the way down, it's a private residence, but it was a private residence for her niece. She wasn't trying to rent it out, she was trying to help her buy a house. She clarified there's no crime there. She didn't commit a crime. That's not bank fraud. That's nothing. So he's going after her for the same thing that she charged him with, which would have gone through and he would have been prosecuted. But what happened? He ran for office, did exactly what we knew he would do once he got here, and so on. So the bottom line is none of us are safe. You're not safe because you're brown and you're pagan, heaven forbid. I'm probably not safe because I'm white and I'm a pagan. Our magically protected garage goblin is not safe because she's hanging around with us and the likes of us. Well, we know we've got problems. And she could laugh and turn her mic back on if she, I'm pretty sure, she understands this. And so there's really nothing funny about this. This is pretty intense. And
our garage goblin knows more than us, being that hers is a major place in history that's already dealt with this before. So
well, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, she's I'm not saying, she's I mean, she's her mic is not on at the moment. So, but my point is that we know that this is historically not a good time, and even if we are coming together in this forum and we're putting out this information, it's only as good as the amount of people that we reach, right?
Right.
And um, it's I'm trying to tell her to go ahead and unmute it. I can't unmute it for her, but there we go. Well, no, she's got it muted for sure because we had feedback. What is happening here? What I wanted to do, what Joe wanted to do, is first off talk about some things that we can personally do to actually possibly help us in the process of being safe, and maybe do a little bit of aggressive practices when it comes to trying to get people to, shift their beliefs. I did think it was a little bit interesting that Marjorie Taylor Greene was coming out against signing the budget. I mean, I've never agreed with her over anything, nothing. But apparently she wants the Epstein files to come out. Oh, and I want to point this out. A big part of this push right now is because they don't want to seat the congresswoman who would create that one extra vote and put out the Epstein files. And say what we will about Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she looks a bit like a Neanderthal, and I think she's, maybe getting a little bit smarter, having been in Congress as long as she now has been in Congress, which is a hideous 6 years or something. She definitely maybe has kind of started to figure out that some of what she believed was bullshit, and she maybe understands that a bit, but she wanted the Epstein to be exposed. And I'm not sure why I'm hearing feedback on the mic there.
So it's probably not the mic. It's not the microphone. It's the volume of the podcast on the Garage Goblins.
Oh,
So
yeah.
It's not the mic. It's the volume of the podcast.
Oh, okay. So if she's listening to the podcast, then it's doing that. Okay, I get that.
Right.
All right. I'm not a pro.
So she can unmute. That's fine. It's just turn down the volume on the
Yeah.
on the speakers.
Don't watch it on another screen. But yeah.
Things. So here's the thing, that it just seems ridiculous talking about that. The one Democratic
they won't see
representative that should be voted in.
Well, she's been voted in. She needs to be sworn in. Yeah,
sworn in. Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I probably said voted in. I meant sworn in.
Well, the thing is, it's a bit ridiculous, and this tells you where the mindset is. That it's what I've understood is that it's not to be done during the shutdown, or it can't be done during the shutdown. But Republicans were okay to be sworn in during a shutdown.
Well, yeah.
Only because the families had already reserved spaces at Olive Garden for that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh,
I like the Olive Garden same as everybody else, but
yeah, but it's like they couldn't. Oh, they definitely could not keep Republican families. So of course they had to go through that process. But when it comes to somebody actually significant, I know it can't be done. And the biggest hoax is some idiot thinking that he could be president. The biggest idiot of all, thinking that he's a president. That's the hoax.
Well, he's not. He's right now. He's acting and behaving much more like a wannabe king or a dictator. And I have maybe two people that are on Facebook that routinely send me. They definitely don't agree with me, and they definitely think he's all that and more. And the funny thing is, They just can't see it. Oh, Democrats is it? No, Democrats aren't doing this. Did you see this? Yeah, did you see that? Mhm.
Right.
Oh, that's all lies. Well, no, it's not. The amount of the amount of trouble that is in Portland right now is a bunch of furries dancing in front of the, in front of the ice facility and blow up costumes. I mean, it's they're trying to make it look ridiculous and actually poking fun at stuff like this is actually a really good way of making them feel stupid, and
Mhm.
well, they should.
And they're
So my
not
favorite
the only
part
ones.
about Portland and the ice facility in Christie Nome is when she tries to just keep a straight face and keep saying like how absolutely god awful the protesters are being. There's literally a guy in a duck suit just leaning over the fence and possibly drinking a beer, if I remember correctly, just living his best life, doing the best he can, and Christie Nome's just like,
She
this
can't do
can't
anything.
be.
And then there's that one guy that sings out of touch with everything. I don't know. You don't know what I'm talking about. He's very
Mhm.
funny, and he sings ridiculous songs to the ice facilities and wears really inappropriately badly fitted outfits and dresses. I can't think of his name, but he's really funny, and he's on. I see.
Yes,
Oh yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy with the
he redid YMCA.
Yeah,
Who, yeah, yeah, that one.
yeah. He's very funny,
I'll find it.
and I
if you find
do
if you find it, please let's give him a good shout out because he's amazing. He's just
hysterical.
out there doing
And
the
he's
best. So
and
yes.
I think he started off in LA, but he's been traveling a bit. And I think that more, I mean, when I look at, I mean, we're obviously going to cover more magical things than this is right now. We're talking about the mundane, but playing fun at things that are very serious can actually diffuse their energy. Um,
Mhm.
in a magical setting, if you've got something really evil and you just start laughing at it, it has lost a lot of its juice. So it is a really good offense and defense mechanism to really just poke at it, because nothing nothing makes somebody who's really angrier is if you don't respond by being angry too. It's like, what are they going to do? And these people that are putting this out there, they're trying to gain power because it's like they're doing it under this pretense that they have to. Oh, Robbie Rod Steamer. I think that's yeah, I think so. And I don't have a link for that. If you find a link, I'll let me see if I can find it. Robbie Rod Steamer. Um, let me see if I can. Let me find a pin because oh yeah, he's got a pretty funny thing. Um, he's
Yeah,
got a
it's really amazing.
he's
Speedos and all. He's pretty amazing.
speedos
So
and all,
yeah.
and he's singing stuff like at the Epstein list live at
Mhm.
Broadview and Ice, and I mean he's got some very funny videos, and nothing is more infuriating than poking fun at somebody when they're really angry. Like, they will get angrier, but they also lose control.
Mhm.
And what you have is a bunch of probably Proud Boys that are now hired by the ICE, and they're getting paid wonderful bonuses, and they're getting paid during the shutdown. But your military is not, folks. The military is having to go out and do all this, be wherever they're told to be, and they're not getting paid. And I have to say that was again the one time, other than the Epstein thing, that I agreed with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says this is wrong, and my consistents are saying, their constituents are saying this is what's happening to them, and they should be getting paid. So I do think that when you lose somebody as absolutely MAGA as Marjorie Taylor Greene, you are losing big chunks of support because people really like her. She's got some measure of charisma. I don't know why, but she does, right? And maybe she's getting smarter than she was 4 or 5 years ago. You know, I mean, you come in idealistically, no matter what you believe, but you may not stay in that same boat. Remember Strom Thurmond? I think he started off as very not good and very prejudiced. And I think he left not being that way. But who was it? Let me see. The one that the right wing already said, "Oh, you know, Biden gave him incentive." Well, there were people that were in the KKK that eventually went, "You know what? This is kind of wrong. Maybe she's going to be one of those." I don't hold out a lot of hope, but it would sure be nice to see that happen.
Right.
You
Yeah, you made a comment earlier. Rather, you brought out a word that just really kind of makes you think. He said it's yeah, we're gonna get into the magical, and right now we're talking about the mundane. Is it really mundane though?
know,
I mean,
no,
it's something that it's in our face. It's affecting us. It's affecting us in the worst possible way. Um, so
all right. That is the link that I'm going to put up in.
right.
And
So
every
there's I mean,
week.
there's that one particular way of looking at it, but um, honestly, it's beyond that. It is it's beyond just being the norm. You know, every Tuesday kind of thing. Uh, it really is impactful any way that you look at it. So
Yeah,
right now we're talking about uh, the cause, the reason why we need that radical and magical defense. I mean, it needs to be talked about
it does.
before we get into the the dynamics of it. So that's why we've taken you know almost 30 minutes just talking about this because it's heavy and it's only getting heavier. It's only getting worse.
Oh,
So
it's very
um,
disheartening. And every
yeah,
time something new happens, I watch the days. I own a business, and I own a business that is very energetically sensitive. And when something really heavy has just happened, I can watch like just nobody comes in. It's, it'll be very, very quiet. And then eventually someone will come in, but it changes the way the energetics of even the store feel, and it changes how we feel. But yeah,
and there is the very real fact that one of our types of stores, like yours, Gwen, has already been attacked. It's already been attacked.
which
So
one was that? Tell
it's
me
happening.
what.
There was uh I don't have the name of the place, and I don't believe it was in California, but
Let
it
me.
did happen recently.
I
If it
didn't
was
know
north,
that,
it
and
was.
it does not
Yeah.
surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me either. It's something that uh it was a very real possibility. We talked about it when we first started, the this cast. We just talked about it when we first started the channel that it's a very real possibility that they start coming after us.
Oh yeah,
Well, here it is. It's already happened. It's already begun. It's uh, and we're talking about crazy, unhinged people that are blowing up people's houses.
I,
You
I
know for
want
a fact
I want
that's
to review something. When he first came into office, there was like the Florida nightclub that
mhm.
got blown up, and a bunch of places that were catered to not straight people. Um, because he riled up people, and he has never let up on the transgendered. He's never let up on people that are gay. He'd like to see all those marriages fail, and the financial kickback is then people don't have people on their insurance that have to pay for stuff. So, I mean, there's this kickback to blowing up things, out of proportion and scapegoating people. And we as magical practitioners, we are a little less as an easy target because our stores are businesses, but we are targets. And I didn't know about the more recent one.
Mhm.
I don't know how I didn't hear about it, but it's Not surprising.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. It is frightening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's also some of the reason for some personal decisions that were made. Um, we won't go into that, but because of that, that was something that really set things in motion. Um, as I said, on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I am where I am right now, because that um, that incident really brought forth the idea that I needed to be closer to the chosen family, closer to our community. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in that spirit, that is why I am really pushing for us to unite, for us to organize, work together to come up with as much defense, as much magic as we can to really push things back, to really hold the line. That's what we need to do, hold that line. Now, the rest of the world uh, can do their own part. And of course, certainly, we need to be more involved with everyone around the world. But what I really meant to say was that everyone else outside of our circle uh, knows their parts. They're the ones that are protesting. They're the ones that are out there reporting when things are going wrong. When when that Gestapo is out there doing what they do, you have the ones that are trying their best to stand up, and they are getting hurt.
Yeah.
They are really getting hurt. So, in our spell work, in our light work, a lot of us put it out there that we're going to do this for the highest good of all. If we're really going to live up to that, then we need to step up. We need to step up and actually make sure that we are acting for the highest good of all, as
Mhm.
caretakers, as healers, as protectors, any kind of work. It needs to be done. So, with that in mind, with that in mind, now we can proceed into the magic side of it. What can we do? What can we do to protect the ones that are barely starting out? Because they are the ones that are the most vulnerable. You've got the kids out there that are talking about becoming Wiccans, the ones that are barely stepping in, the ones that are, even the older ones that are barely stepping into their craft. What are we doing to protect them? What are we doing to help them? What can we give them to help them to protect themselves? And that's how
Yes,
we
please
fulfill it.
protect the baby witches.
What was that?
I said yes, please protect the baby witches. They're just starting out. They don't know what they're doing.
Sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I want to point out something too. I because I own a business and I do see customers day to day. A lot of the people that come through my store are definitely protesting. They're doing marches. The ones that are the issue is like if you're not retired, you can't go to these places because you have to work. And of course, we're all living with less income than we were. But a lot, I would say most of my retired customers are doing protests. They're going to indivisible.org. They're doing No King's Day. And No King's Day is coming up again. I think it's on October 18th. And even though I generally am supposed to read here on the 18th, I'm probably going to try to take most of that day off so that I can go to it. But will I be in Watsonville or Santa Cruz? That I don't know. What I can say is that when I go to these things, I am noticing people that I am familiar with that go here. And on a mundane but very proactive level, there are local chapters. There is your local Democrat club. There's a lot of things where you can at least voice your opinion and be part of what it is that needs to take place to shift. And the biggest thing you can do is cast your vote. Um, Vote for 50. If Texas can pull in, um, it can redraw its districts to suit their needs. We're they're pretty much going to take all the seats away. So can California, and we can keep redrawing it if we need to. So with those mundane things that you can do, what we're going to talk about now is how to also pull the magic into it so that you do both. It's like think of yourself as a globe, right? You're this ball. I'm gonna pop my ball off your ball, right? Everything that you do, this is my rolling ball mouse part. I really like the rolling ball mouse. Anyway, everything that you do, it's coming at you, and everything you're interacting with everything around you. So mundane, yes. Also not mundane. All of those things together. Does that make sense,
Yeah,
Joe?
absolutely, absolutely, it does. Yeah. So, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
the more as it's just the more I think about it, the more I find myself at a loss for words. That here's where we are. Here's
Hmm.
what we are now. There's no way around it. So, can we form our protective bubble? Yes. Can we form a bigger protective bubble for everybody else around us? Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, and that's what needs to happen. I mean, you see it in the movies all the time. You've got lines of soldiers, lines of even wizards, you know, casting out those sigils, those spells, those protective barriers. Even though visually, that's it's fictionalized, that's really what we need. So, um, one of the things that I have learned, um, for my own circle, for my own bubble, um, is that using black kyanite, and that's not the stone of the week, but using black kyanite,
It's a great
that
tool.
is a great stone to make yourself invisible. That is a great stone to make yourself invisible to those who would do you harm. So wear that for yourself, pass that on to your neighboring witches, or just pass that on to your neighbors, even if they're not witches. They look like me. They look like me. Well, granted, I look a little more indigenous than and uh, you know, Pacific Islander than Mexican. I've been told, uh, and I've been confused several times. But, anyways, if the people look like me, offer them a piece of kyanite if you have one. If you have an extra piece, just tell them, here, just carry this for protection. Are they going to believe that it makes them invisible? Yeah, they might laugh at it, but once again, we're not talking Hollywood here. We're not talking Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility. We're talking about um, not being noticed by the ones who are potential persecutors, the ones who can do all kinds of harm. You
Well,
can you can use that.
if you think about regular kyanite, you can use it like a blade to cut cords, and so kyanite in any of its form is good for that, right? So you're basically cutting your connections of where people notice you with the kyanite. So
Right.
makes very good sense.
And I mean, there's other ways of protecting the home, and you know,
Mhm.
I mean, dry eggshells made into dust, brick dust, salt, all of that can be put around the home, and I think we've kind of discussed that before.
Mhm.
Um, that's great for just in general protecting what is yours.
Mhm.
Um, but I would kind of like to get into, as I said, like the more um, aggressive forms. So you have uh, oils, you have uh, dust, herbs that can work for that. I mean, literally, I have seen um, one of my favorite oils to use, and I think I might have run out of it. Um, is the back off bitch oil.
Yeah, well,
Literally,
what is in the back off bitch oil? Because I don't know
as
if
I
I
said,
have that
that
on the website.
as I said, that one I ran out of it. But if you can find that, uh, Gwen, if you can carry it, if you can find it,
I
carry it.
don't know if I have that. Let me
Um,
go and see if I have. Let me see what I have in the way of oils. Like a
well,
lot of these
essentially,
things, you can suss out what's in them. So
see, so okay, so you can use that. And I mean, if you're going to use it on a person, you
right.
can you can just perhaps if you don't want any physical contact, then by no means, to do that. But if you happen to brush against them, if you happen to have just a little bit of that oil just right on your fingertip, you accidentally graze them. There you go. You've anointed them with that backup pitch oil. You have that uh, intention. They are going to move away from you, or you are going to remove yourself. Again, cutting the cords. It can work either way. As long as you have that clear intention, there's no harm to be done. It's just you are going to separate yourself from that person. Um,
So, the ingredients for back off oil include burdock, cumin, caraway, holy thistle, witch's grass, and then from there you make it your own with either basil, rosemary, or lavender, depending on whether you want them to back off and offer you peace, or if you want them to back off and go make it a little spicy with maybe like a couple red pepper flakes for good luck. So,
mhm.
Well,
That's
those I
the
probably do carry on
good.
my now when I search back off, I do carry a bumper sticker that says "Back off, I'm a goddess" on my store. But I don't know if that will work. But you know what though, that is setting an intention.
Mhm.
So you
There's
know,
also that. So the powder form, if you don't use that with oils, that can also be sprinkled around the person. Uh, I've used it with a certain person that I really needed to back away from in the work environment.
mhm.
That person used to take their shoes off at work. Made it easy. Just
Nobody can walk across.
wait for those shoes to be empty. Just sprinkle a little bit of that powder in there and let it work its magic. And it did. So, um, little things like that are not going to bring harm to anybody. That's also a more aggressive form of defense.
Well, I can tell you that apparently Art of the Root is what carries back off bitch oil. It's not my website, but
Mhm.
they have it. So I mean, we do have on the store if I type in banishing, and there's a bunch of banishing um, stuff on the, we've got the black candles, and we've got, sage oil. We've got banishing oil that's I guess it's foxcraft, and dragon's blood comes up pretty much, like that's one oil that often is associated with banishing. So you can definitely utilize what's there, and we carry some banishing ritual kits online too, which I don't carry those in the store, although I can probably give you some mixed ingredients for it. Cloves is another thing that's used in banishing, and you can also, you can mix a lot of things together. Like maybe you don't like the smell of something,
Mhm.
you know, you can mix and match. It's like a recipe. If you don't like one ingredient, you can change it. It might change the entire effectiveness of it, but might not, if something's more comfortable with you, you feel more comfortable with it. I would say, it's like a recipe. You can definitely change it a bit. um
Yeah.
we were talking about, let's go to the stone of the week, even though we don't have to, we normally do it kind of towards the end.
Right.
I was looking to see what was calling out my name, and I came up with jet, and I have jet in stock. The bigger pieces are something like, there'll be a little bit more, but these are about $2 a piece. So you can see I've got, well, now I have jet all over my office floor. I'm wearing some jet.
That's just added protection. That's just so
Added
much more added
protection.
protection.
There we go.
There you go.
I'll bend down and pick it up later, but it's very light. Jet is an extremely light stone. It's black. And if I go to my little crystal Bible here, it's formed from fossilized wood, but looks like coal, and it's been used as a talisman since Stone Age. It draws out negativity, alleviates unnecessary fear. So, like if you're afraid, you don't need to be, it'll help that. And if you wear it around the neck, it's protection. It guards against violence and illness. It provides protection during spiritual journeying. It was used in olden times to protect from entities of darkness. I mean, it's really a good stone. It's said that if you're attracted, you're an old soul, but it can also be used to open up psychic experiences and assist a quest for spiritual enlightenment. It says that it can be inherited or purchased, and it can be cleansed with care. I think you can pretty much cleanse anything in the salt water of an ocean or running water. You'd have to wipe a lot of the stones off, though. It's helps with finances and protecting businesses, which now it's all around my office floor, so that should be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, given the nature of what we've been talking about, and as I said, places like yours being attacked, it's very it's quite
Well, it's
possible
under my
that
desk now. There's at least two pieces right near my feet, so I'm walking on protection. And I do see things like that. I have my way of magical thinking. It also does help the base chakra, so it helps with Kundalini energy, and it can help balance you up and pull your Kundalini energy up to your crown chakra. It does help with migraines and epilepsy and colds, but I'm not saying don't go to a doctor and put a stone on you for a migraine. If that works really well for you, awesome. But if it doesn't, just it's good for stomach pain, lymphatic systems, and it was traditionally used for menstrual cramps. So, hey, why not, right? It's basically, it can be worn in silver. They prefer it to silver, in silver. So that's a good thing. I have it on my website. I don't have it in the stone department, but you can see there's a number of different options on it. There's a bunch of tumbled ones which are on sale, and you can get a very reasonably priced stretchy bracelet with pretty good sized beads of jet for $7.95. And I would like to point out that if you let me get over to this stage. If you do buy the jet online and you don't want to pick it up, you don't want to like pay for shipping, you can pick it up at the store. Or if you buy more than $50 worth of something, you can always get free shipping. So, I think the tumbled stones actually, let me see here. The tumbled stones might actually, oh, there's one on my keyboard too. See, one more. I think that they might actually be more than, let me see if I can't find it. Here we go. JET. Yeah, if you were to buy the bracelet and a pound of jet tumbled stones, you would have your entire $50 worth, and you could put them all around your house. But some of those oils, those protective oils, are really you know if you combine them with something like jet, you can always take a stone like jet, and it's kind of right up there with the lava stones where it's a little, it feels like a little bit absorbative, so you can put some oils on it and wear it, or I wouldn't soak it in the oil, but you can definitely work it that way.
Right.
They're very smooth, and they're very nice. I have a massage wand up front for it's about $30. It's not an expensive stone. It's, very reasonable priced.
And of course, if you do get them in bulk, as Gwen said, you can put them around your house, or once again, if you have someone that you know is vulnerable, always ask them, can I give you something to just give a little added protection to your
Oh,
home,
yeah.
to your family,
And it's
and just
soft,
be
so you
generous
can
with that.
drill it. You
Yeah.
can drill these pretty easy. We just have to hold them to do it. It's a soft
But
stone.
the idea is that we are protecting ourselves so that we can protect others. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And and making someone a little mojo bag,
Mhm.
that's actually pretty cool to do for people who are sick. And most of these stones, I would say 90% of them, they all come from the earth, so you don't have to worry about, oh, I can't put that stone with this stone. I don't believe that. My magical world says you can put a stone with a stone no matter what the other stone is. And even if you
Oh, yeah.
think they do something off as it, they might just help you to balance.
I mean, I wear wire cages with like 3 or 4 stones all together.
And
That's
we
kind of
sell
what we.
wire cages. We have
Oh,
little cute
there you
little.
go.
We have a
Yeah,
bunch of those. We have them in the store, and we have them online.
good. So, I mean, you can combine them however you feel that,
Mhm.
if they're going to work together, that's fine. So once again, that's another way of
Another
just
way
kind
of
of working
doing
that energy.
things.
So, yeah. There's also the sigil work, and if you guys remember way back when when I did the
We should do
talk on
that
sigil,
again. We
we
should
could
do
we
another
could do
sigil workshop again.
we could do that again. We can talk about it as maybe a sense of ethical baneful magic. Um, of course, there's the chaos magic aspect of it, and well, depending on what kind of intention or quote unquote chaos you want to bring, we can certainly discuss that and um, go further into the actual practice. As a matter of fact, I think next week we probably should focus more on these more aggressive defensive spells, um, so that we can just kind of build up, you know, build up maybe not necessarily immunity to all this, but we can actually stand much stronger. So,
And I want to say, now that you're back to the West Coast here, one of the things I definitely want to do is get you to schedule in a sigil workshop here.
hmm,
I think
right.
that's something that we should do. And we have the whiteboard in the back room for that. So yeah, that is something we should do. I think that revisiting some of these, um, some of these uh,
Topics.
systems, it's probably a good. I mean, we don't have to leave it at one class, and sigil magic is a pretty interesting thing. So we should definitely do that. The other thing that we were also, that we also need to like look at is if it's important, for us to stay healthy as much as we can. So resting, not letting these things get to you is also part of our kind of, we need to, that's a thing we can do rather easily. There's
Self.
candle magic. There's, focusing on energy of, being aggressive about magic does not preclude you from putting it in the highest and best category. For instance, I have a nifty little white house on an altar, and I haven't been working with it. I, kind of was like, it's kind of sitting there for a little bit, but sending it, you know healing energy. We want it to heal. Might not be the worst. I mean, if you're uncomfortable about the more aggressive magic, you can do that.
Right. So, well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for
Quite.
this weekend's. Ah,
Not
come on, you got something
quite.
else.
So this is called this. Let's add this. Is an acorn squash.
Mhm.
This is squash season. Yes, it looks a bit like a pumpkin. And Joe, it's valued for its abundance, protection, prosperity protection. It's also not the same as a tree acorn, but the symbolism is the same. As you can see,
Mhm.
it's, jack-o'-lanterns were carved. Acorn squash could be used in autumn magic to ward off negative spirits and protect homes. And there's, various different recipes for that. And so I said, Joe, I have a surprise for you. I'm going to ask you something. I'll put this up and I'm going to tell you in the end, and I'm not going to give you any warning. So, Joe, how would you cook that acorn squash? You knew it was coming. What would you do? Because see, I don't want that to sit. My spouse has a habit of buying a pumpkin and then absolutely refusing to let me carve it or take it off the front door deck. And I don't know why, because he's not into these things until like it rots in August.
Mm.
I told him I'm not carving another one. But this one I got, and I'm just curious, how would you cook it? We got time. Take your time.
uh, our magically protected garage goblin can also give us some ideas.
That's
This
I already
fine.
have like 3 recipes in mind. Don't worry about it. I got this. All right. So what
Okay.
you're gonna do is you're actually gonna go hollow out the acorn squash. You're going to go roast it in the oven, and you're going to go put in a sort of pilaf, if you will, but make it like a harvest pilaf, in which you are going to add back parts of that acorn squash. You are going to add in, if you don't do cilantro, you can absolutely do thyme. You can do some kind of wild rice in case like you don't want just regular rice. You could add some coconut cream in there.
Okay.
You could add curry powder. You can add sumac. You can add za'atar. You can add a whole bunch of Middle Eastern
Obviously
spices to your
butter
whole
it,
plate.
bake it. You have to take the end. Does it have like seeds? Because I don't know. I've never bought
It
one.
does have seeds, much like pumpkins do, and so you can actually roast those as well.
So do you hollow it from the top, or do you like slice it and dice it?
You split it in half long ways.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
from the top to the
Towards
bottom,
the bottom.
you take out
Yeah.
the seeds, you go rinse off like all the strings on it, and then you can go pat it dry, go put it in an oven to go like roast the seeds, and then go put it into the rice, or like go pick the shell off of it and put those seeds in.
Okay.
And you can add just a little bit, just a little drizzle of oil on it as you're roasting it. So just kind
Okay.
of to help the process along. Just a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then just let it go. So
And then when you're done making the rice that goes in it, you can go add tahini with some garlic and whatever herbage you want on top. So there you go. Ta-da!
That just that's good. I hadn't really given it a whole lot of like thought as to what I was going to do with it, and I thought this is cool. And so yeah. So um how do they taste? Like pumpkin or like squash?
it tends to have a little
They
bit
taste
more.
mostly somewhere between sweet potato and pumpkin,
Yeah.
like together.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is
You
a
can
very
also
cookable gourd. It's cookable.
Yes,
you
yes.
can
It could be
also
used in soup. It could be used like savory. It could be
exactly.
sweet. You could even make like an acorn squash pie if you wanted.
Mhm.
Uh, my mother used to do butternut squash for pumpkin pie. She said it was better. But
That could work.
That would
Yes.
that would be assuming that I know how to make a crust. I know how to bake.
Magical hint from the ginger. You can go buy that.
Okay.
Don't work harder, work smarter.
I would have to buy a crust because I don't think I've rolled. I don't even know if I have a rolling pin. I might. I could. Maybe it's possible. If I do, it's in the way back of the bottom of something. But
That's okay.
so either way, this acorn squash is a magically good protector, as are all squashes, which bringing it slightly back to the season, I wanted to point out that this is something that when you cook, back to our cooking episode, Joe, if you cook with intention, that's about 90% of getting that magical infusion. And we want you to be healthy, and we want you to stay healthy and safe. And, be aware that if your body is healthy, if something does happen down the line, you're starting from a healthier spot. And so that would be kind of important. So I wanted to pull that in before I forgot. And I actually took a picture of the acorn squash that I have in order to do this. So that acorn squash is on my kitchen table at the moment. I may cook it in the next several days. I'm hoping that it doesn't go the way of the cantaloupe, which decided I didn't cut it in time, and it melted onto my pot holder. And I say melted it's a pleasant way of saying what happened there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It happened resting on the pot holder, and I forgot.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate the wealth of knowledge that just comes from our magically protected garage goblin?
It's interesting. I had no idea until we all started this. I knew she was magical, but
absolutely,
there it is.
Yes.
And it's always this little tiny screen that I'm looking at, but she is there and present, and yay.
Absolutely. So,
at present, I am an amorphous blob. It's fine.
But I want to say something else. We didn't have the technical difficulties, so whatever you did last week, Joe, and getting it all set up, it's definitely working, and that is also true with, we had a little bit of feedback, but I think we're starting. The learning curve is getting there. So.
Oh, we also have one more guest that probably brought her magic as well. You can't really see her, but
I think right I do see.
She decided
I see something. I see something. Yeah.
She's this little dark goblin.
They're out there, those goblins.
Gargoyle. So she decided she's going to be present for the podcast as well. So she's pretty well hidden. She's pretty well protected. So yes.
They're like that. If I was doing this from my house, you'd hear parrots screaming in the background because that's what they do.
All right.
So
for felines that tend to just fade into the background, I typically just refer to them as the void.
Oh yeah.
It's much easier when trying to go place a directive as to what is being asked of you. The void demands chicken. The void is staring into your soul.
I have a cat that's rather large, and he sleeps on my pillow right here. And I sleep on half of whatever it was that I used to sleep on. The spaces, like he's got this. And he does sometimes share that spot, but only with a bit of resentment. It's the only time he ever hisses at the other cats. It's like, you're on my spot. You shan't do that. Anyway.
And don't forget, when you're feeding said, familiars, pets, there's a more interesting way of saying, oh, well, I got to go feed the dog. I got to go feed the cat. Let's just say we're fattening the beast. So
oh yeah.
That's what I say when I'm feeding this one. So.
My fattest beast is so ginormous that he has destroyed the flap on the screen door, and we are now getting a doggy door sized one
I believe it.
because he'll fit.
So.
Yes, he destroyed it.
Alrighty. So
There you
that should be it for this week. Next week we'll kick this around a little bit more. And we'll actually do some maybe not some demonstrations, but we'll definitely do a little more deep dive into what can be done for these these rituals, these practices for um, aggressive defense.
And
So
remember, you
that'll
can
be for
sage yourself before you leave the house, and you can save your office. You can sage it, your offices and your houses. And if somebody knocks on your door wanting to come in without a warrant, you do not have to let them in.
No, you don't.
You don't need to let someone in unless they have a good reason to be there. And if you don't see it, they don't have it. And
Right.
if you think you hear somebody saying ICE is outside and you're Hispanic, don't go out there unless you have your passport with you, because they don't care if you're a citizen now. So just, remember that.
And if you're not, but your neighbor is, your friend
Tell 'em.
is, and you know they're around, let them know.
Yep.
Please let them know. Just
There's such a
make them feel
thing
safe.
as a phone tree for emergencies.
Right.
And one thing that I almost forgot to say, if you think of a tree, it's a very protective canopy, but there's also something called a phone tree. And with the idea in the intention is, if something happens, you need a phone tree. This means you call 3 people and your neighbors call 3 people, or the 3 people that you call 3 people. And if they know something's happening and they can't reach somebody, then that's the person you check on. So get yourselves a phone tree, especially with anybody that is in a vulnerable community, be they not straight, be they Hispanic, be they Black, be they a practitioner like myself. I'm probably going to be okay. I just feel it in my bones, but just in case, use a phone tree. One call, one call, one call, and if you have to, use a landline, because landlines, they can't really shut the landline off, but they can fuzz out phone services. And I'm talking like a conspiracy theorist, but no,
But
I don't think
that
the
is a
methods are a
reality.
thing, but cell interference is.
Yeah, it's our reality.
Yeah.
It's here.
It's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. Thank
And
you
on that
guys.
upbeat note, we love you. We're going to see you next week, right?
We
So-
are. We are. Yes. So
Be sure to like and subscribe so we get to 6 million. Okay, whatever.
Hey,
thank you.
somebody's got to say that. Yay!
Yeah.
Somebody said that. So, yep.
So,
All
all
righty.
right. Thank you guys. We will see you next week.
Ciao.